to my channel. I'm here with my friend Rob that I actually met in Chicago not too long ago. Rob, can you tell us about yourself a little bit?
I have type 1 diabetes.
You do?
Almost 15 years.
No way, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're a teenager.
So we have something in common, yeah. But I am the host of the Diabetics Play Sports podcast, which I've been doing for about 4 years. And I am an entrepreneur and have my own business and agency in Dallas. And I used to, believe it or not, be a professional athlete. You won't be able to tell too much today, but yeah.
Let's just stand up. Here, stand up real quick because you'd be out of frame.
I'm a little bit out of frame. You're a tall guy.
Yeah, I'm like almost 6'4", but look at this guy.
Yeah.
Woo!
Pretty tall.
Cool.
So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad you could be on, dude. So you stay pretty busy, I noticed a lot.
I like doing things.
Amazing. Right? Yeah, you like doing things. I also see a lot of your posts that show you playing basketball.
Shooting some hoops. I still love doing it.
One thing for me I want to talk about today is sports. Like specifically, you mentioned that you played some professional sports there for a while, which is really cool, especially the fact that you are a type 1 diabetic. That has always been kind of a fear for me, so I'm really intrigued when I see type 1s playing sports. So when did you start playing basketball?
There's this picture of me that my parents have back when we lived like in Wisconsin, which we did not live very long. And I kind of had like this little Harry Potter room like under the stairwell.
Nice, I still have one of those.
I mean, yeah, like,
yours is actual.
Yeah, this is actual. This is like where if my parents hated me, I would live. That's cool. I gotta check out that room.
Yeah, you gotta check that out.
There was like all these toys around the floor, and the picture of me is like there's this little basketball hoop, and I have the ball in my hand. So from a very early age, like basketball was one of my favorite things, and still to this day, it's one of my favorite things. When I was diagnosed, I was 16. I think you were 14 when you were diagnosed. So kind of a similar time.
Yeah, teenagers.
And my most important thing in my life was I wanted to play basketball, and I was just starting to get kind of good at it. And so that to me was my entire motivation, even around my diabetes, was I knew that, and my doctors were super, super encouraging. When I was diagnosed, they said, Rob, whatever dream you have for your life, it's still within reach. As long as you take care of your diabetes, right?
Right.
And I didn't realize, I thought everybody's doctor said that at the time.
Right.
I didn't know that. Most people don't.
Not mine.
See? And, at that time, I was like, okay, cool. If my doctor says it's possible, I'm just going to do whatever it takes to be able to play basketball.
Dude, that's so cool. And this was before being diagnosed, right?
So before being diagnosed, I was playing, and it was a huge part of my life.
Tell me about basketball before diabetes. Did it change anything mentally for you going into practices and games?
Well, a lot of my friends joke that I wasn't any good before. And I think that was just more of like the age that I was getting to at the time, but it changed a lot of stuff. It changed the way I had to prepare. Obviously, it changed the way I had to check my blood sugar before and after games, and before and after practice. And at the start, when I was first diagnosed, I was on injections, and so that was different than when I got to college when I was on a pump.
For me, part of the fear aspect came in is, like, if I had the technology that I have now, right, I think going into a practice or going into a game, I would have the confidence to do it, whereas back then, I would drop like crazy low and then all of a sudden it would just hit me, right? And I'm like, oh no, I can't be out here playing soccer or whatever it was for me, soccer. When you would go into a practice, you were just a teenager, were your parents pretty involved in monitoring those practices, or was that all on you as a teen?
It's interesting because I credit my parents and my mom specifically she's really took ownership of learning how, whatever it was going to take for me to do what I wanted to do. So I'm super grateful for that. But they also gave me a lot of independence. So especially, I was 16, so I didn't want my parents' help with everything.
Right.
And so I was really working on how can I be the best basketball player I can be and take care of my diabetes.
Right.
So I think that was always my priority. I really wish I had a CGM at that time.
Right.
It was just too early. Just to be able to see
the
first time I played basketball with a CGM and I could see what my blood sugars did, it just opened up my whole world. Because I used to guess, I used to think about it. But when I got to college, the stress of college games was so intense, and even college practices.
So did you find that stress affected your blood sugars at all?
It was so mind-blowing. I could go into a game and get a couple hours early, and I'd be like fasting blood sugar at 80. By the time the game hit, I could be 400. Just because
of just on stress levels.
Stress, cortisol, adrenaline. I also used to listen to like crazy hyped up music.
It's like just rises your blood sugar.
And it would just spike me way up. So I had to really find a way to prepare that could mitigate some of that. So I started listening to the more chill music. I started to get a little bit of treatment and just kind of ease my way into it. And I had an awesome training staff that I always will give credit to. They were just with me every step of the way. And I think when I talk to athletes and I talk to parents of athletes, one of the things that I think is most important is you have to make a decision. Are you going to talk to a potential college or a coach or about diabetes, or are you going to kind of keep it a secret? And my parents and I had this really in-depth discussion when we were choosing a college, that we were going to go ahead and be really upfront. Because if I was going to spend 4 years at a place and really get the most out of it, they had to know what I was dealing with.
Right, totally.
And I highly recommend that. It's a personal choice, I think, but whenever you can be upfront and open about what's going on with you and how how you deal with it. I still had a lot of independence, but it was nice to have someone there who knew that something potentially could happen and what I was going through.
Right.
And it really helped me out a lot.
Cool. Yeah. See, I always kept mine such a secret, which was a huge mistake. Like even when I first got diagnosed, I was playing for years before that. As a little kid, I started playing soccer, and then practices. And I actually, after I was diagnosed, I continued to play for a while. And then it's just like the fear aspect of crashing and just eating granola bars the whole time. And then all of a sudden, I'm feeling all lethargic because I'm like going up too high. And it was just that roller coaster of not being able to like monitor it closely enough. My biggest regret with diabetes is that I actually quit doing something I loved. And now, still today, 21 years later, I'm looking at it going, I wish I wouldn't have quit. I wish I would have stuck in there and just kept at it, like what you did. And that's like, I want everybody to realize, like, yes, that fear and that aspect thing can be real for people. And I'm sure you experienced that too, right? Did you experience any of that or no?
Early on, I think the fear aspect is super real, and it hits home for me a lot, because I think fear, if you let it rule your life, it can rob you of things that you love. In anything. Diabetes or not. And so what I would tell somebody, like, if I go back to 14-year-old
and talk to me,
what would you tell? I would say what my doctor told me. Anything you want to do is possible as long as you take care of your diabetes. And here are some steps that I take to make sure that I'm not, that I'm in good shape.
Right.
And a lot of it, I think, is just diabetes takes one extra step. Whether that's you're going on a trip, or whether you're playing sports, or whether you're going to school or taking a test. There's often one extra step that other people don't have to go through. I think recently somebody said 180 extra decisions a day. Some research came out. If you have type 1 diabetes, you make 180 different or more decisions a day than a regular person. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty scatterbrained as it is.
Yes,
I don't know how that works. But I would tell you, if you want something bad enough, there is a way to get it done. And I check my blood sugar a lot. A couple times it took a lot of courage too, because in college my coach was real old school. He didn't like me that much as a basketball player, which is a whole other story in and of itself. But I remember one time my freshman year, we had a really intense practice, and I had to pull myself out of it pretty early because my blood sugar was spiking and crashing, and I just didn't feel right. So I pulled myself out to check and get a Gatorade. Gatorade was my low blood sugar treatment. And I just remember him yelling across the gym. He's like, "Is that all we're gonna get out of you, Rob?" And in front of the whole team, I just felt so guilty that I hadn't prepared. But I wasn't gonna let it beat me. And so I would tell you that you definitely will have ups and downs. You definitely have highs and lows, but it'll be worth it in the end. I look back, I don't really remember all the diabetes incidents I had. I just remember the good times that I had with my teammates. And
so cool, man.
My last year of professional basketball was 2012 and 2013, so CGM technology wasn't where it is today. And also it changed. Like every time you go up a level, the intensity goes up, the level of competition goes up, talent. It's a big jump.
So can you tell us a little bit of how you managed that additional step in stress? Was it the same as in college?
I had a routine. We were on the road a lot. I was playing against the Harlem Globetrotters, so our tour was all over the world. It was crazy. They were doing all the tricks. We were in a new city every day, all over the world. Cool. And
you actually played with them?
I played against them.
Oh, against them. So you're like a team that would go and like play against them? Dude.
So as far as I know, I was the first type 1 diabetic member of the Washington Generals. But I didn't tell them about it. Because when you go up a level, there's plenty of reasons to cut somebody like me. I was a very fringe level professional basketball player. I was a good teammate. I could score a little bit and play hard. But I didn't want to give them a reason to not pick me. So I didn't tell them. So that took an even extra step of management. So I had to do a lot of testing before games, at halftime, making sure that my blood sugar was
all just by poking the finger, right?
All with the finger. And it's tough when your hands get sweaty.
It's like alcohol, wipe, check it. I'm good or correct.
Correct,
And
move on. Yeah.
Move on. Wow, bro, that's so cool.
And back then, I remember I would put my pump inside my like compression shorts while we were warming up, so I could keep my pump on longer.
Yeah.
Now I have compression shorts that I have pockets in them, so I can keep them. And so
you would just disconnect from the pump, set it aside,
put it like
go
behind
play,
the bench,
come back, snap back in.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
So yeah, my pump was never far away, and no matter where we went, I always had it with me. My teammates could kind of like sense that I was doing something different. I kind of told them about it. But wow, thankfully no major issues really in college, high school, or in the pro levels, and I'm very fortunate.
So cool, dude.
September of 2017 was the first time I played a basketball game, just like a regular rec league game with a CGM on. And I always felt like I knew what was happening with my blood sugars during the game. But then I finally got to see it. And I checked it after the game, looked through the chart, and yeah, sure enough, my adrenaline started going and it came up, and then it kind of came down a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm glad that all of those years of like kind of being frustrated about what happens during a game, I can finally see it on the screen.
Yeah, that's cool. So do you use an Apple Watch where you can see your blood sugar?
I don't. My CGM doesn't connect to an Apple Watch yet.
So what pump are you using?
So I use a Medtronic 670G.
That's right. I started on the Medtronic.
So I've got I've got my CGM here
right there.
Yeah,
nice.
And we just had a little avocado toast.
So we just had right before we came in here, coffee actually spikes me a little bit too.
Yeah, same here.
So yeah, we had some cold brews and some avocado toast. So if you guys are wondering like what diabetics do before they film these kinds of things, we eat toast together.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was nice. It was delicious.
It was really
the bread was definitely handmade.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, Rob. Before we end all this. You were pretty good at basketball. Your friends say not so good before.
Yeah.
Do you think you can beat somebody who's pretty terrible?
I'm
kind of tall. You have me on the height.
I welcome the opportunity. Let's see what you got.
So what if we went and played a game of like around the world, or like horse or something?
I would love that.
Yeah, let's do it, bro.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Hey yo, the rain was steady pouring, heard the drops and drizzle meant to be. Chilling in my crib, no doubt. Peep the scenery. Telephone rang, then it stopped before I could answer it. I heard a knock at the door, so I answered it.
You rolling, bro?
Yeah, dude.
I've been failing. It was my fault. I was supposed to bring a basketball. We were gonna play a little ball today.
We got out to the court at least.
We got to the court. We didn't film anything there, which we probably should have. But
this Target doesn't have sporting goods.
This Target sucks. Rob, can you spin this with the box on?
Oh, let's see.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, dang, bro.
Actually, the box has.
Is it boxed up? Oh, dang, bro. Globetrotters right there.
Big time Globetrotter.
There we go. Okay, here we go. Can you dunk this?
Oh, good catch it.
Oh.
And he caught it.
Oh. Bomb Rob out.
Oh. Steal and run.
Hey, watch this right here. Trick shot. Trick shot.
Right,
you ready for this? Trick shot.
Uh-huh.
Impress you right now with a flat ball. Oh, one-handed.
Love it.
Ready?
And some little Globetrotter colors.
Here we go. Does that count, or is that
Nope.
not count like hockey?
It didn't stay. See.
Trick is it's got to stay. Oh.
All right. It's got to stay. So I'm gonna bounce it. I think.
Oh. Tricky.
So you guess I was done.
Here, let me film you.
Yeah. Get it on film.
Okay, Zach, you're up, bro. You're up.
This really is fun.
Oh, that's old.
You know this guy right here is a pro, right?
Hey, he could
Here
show
we
me
go.
up.
Here we go.
right now.
Here we go. Negative.
That's a win.
So there it is, guys. That's the message for you. Whether you have diabetes or not,
Whether you have a basketball,
or not, you still can't make this thing right here. Makes no difference.
It's not regulation size.
Rob Powell, everybody.